Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
It's time once again for the British Airways Fleet Update here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams. We'll be looking at all the latest developments across the short and long-haul fleets, including the CityFlyer and EuroFlyer subsidiaries. Make sure you like this video and drop us your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel and click for notifications. Now, let's get going with this week's update.
Welcome along then as we crack on through the month of January to another British Airways Fleet News and update all about what's happening across the British Airways subsidiaries, short and long haul. Oh, that's an exciting new slide. Look at that. Well, that's the headlines for this week. A few struggles with the Airbus A380 fleet, hardly a surprise, and a quick snapshot caught online of what's going on over in Manila at Lufthansa Technik. Drama continuing on the 787 fleet. Will bring you the latest. Lots of moves to and fro with the 777s. We'll have that update as well. Quite a few cancellations, aircraft shortages, the weather, bit of disruption across the fleet, and a big reveal for the Dreamliner fleet. The 787-10, I'm going to be talking about what you can expect from the 6 new 787-10s that are coming. I'm putting my neck on the line, picking up 1 or 2 rumours, presenting them as a view, and let's have a look at what we think those 787-10s will look like when they arrive. Back to the normal layout, the Embraer 190s at British Airways CityFlyer. Not too much, just to tell you, Lima, Charlie, Yankee, Zulu, been at Exeter Aerospace since the 31st December. That aircraft returned as CityFlyer 9761 back to London City on the 19th of Jan, straight back onto commercial duties that evening. Lima, Charlie, Alpha, Foxtrot flew down to Exeter on the 9th of January, Flyer 9769, the flight number for that. Lima, Charlie, Yankee, Oscar, Flyer 9761 to Exeter for maintenance. That was on the 19th of January. Over at Gatwick, a little bit of action. Echo Uniform X-Ray India has no action, though, actually. Nothing to report there. Still at Malta, been there since the 24th of October. That's quite a big piece of work, unless maybe they've sidelined the aircraft and put it to one side while they get on with other stuff. Maybe they're waiting some components. I don't know, but certainly been there quite a long time. Echo, a Uniform X-Ray Echo, has made its way back from Dublin. It had been there since the 23rd of November. Griffin 9750 back to Gatwick on the 15th of January. A couple of days fiddling around with the aircraft at Gatwick, but back into traffic on the 17th of January. A week out of traffic for X-Ray Uniform X-Ray Charlie on the ground at Gatwick, 18th to the 25th of January. But that's now back in service. And Echo Uniform Victor, it's one of the Gatwick EuroFlyer fleet. It's been up at Glasgow at the BA maintenance facility since the 7th of December. Flew back as the BA 9752 Glasgow to Gatwick on the 19th of Jan. A couple of days on the ground rectification and then back into traffic 2 days later. Don't quite know what's going on with Golf Alpha Tango Mike. That was scheduled to fly the Griffin 9750 Gatwick to Heathrow on the 19th of Jan. The flight didn't take place. The aircraft remained on the ground at Gatwick for a few days until the 22nd of January, and then it resumed normal operations. Golf Alpha Tango Uniform flew up to Glasgow as the Griffin 9751 on the 19th of Jan for maintenance. On the Mainline Airbus short-haul fleet, just a reminder, BEA liveried 319 Echo Uniform Papa Juliet. That was slated for withdrawal, but it's now had a life extension and went over to Malta, been there since the 8th of January. Echo Uniform Yankee Whiskey flew out to Malta a week later for maintenance. Delta Bravo Charlie Echo, that's been at Madrid for, again, quite a long time now. 11th of November that aircraft flew out. Tango Tango Oscar Bravo under maintenance at Glasgow since the 4th of December. That aircraft returned on the 24th of Jan, BA 9272 Glasgow, back to Heathrow, back onto commercial duties the next day. Echo Uniform Yankee Mike remains on the ground in Dublin for maintenance since the 7th of January. Echo Uniform Yankee Kilo had a couple of weeks out of traffic at Heathrow, penciled in for a return to traffic on Monday the 26th of Jan. Always cautious about giving you these dates because very often the aircraft is not ready and they extend the deadline. But that's currently the plan. Echo Uniform Sierra, that aircraft flew out to Lyon on the 20th of January. It was unable to return as the BA 357. We think that 357 cancellation caused by crew issues. The aircraft immediately returned to London empty as the BA 9258 and picked up duties later that day at London Heathrow. November Echo Oscar X-Ray remains at Gatwick under maintenance. Echo Uniform Foxtrot on the ground for maintenance, BA Glasgow since the 8th of January. 3 aircraft there, Tango Tango Sierra Alpha Tango November Echo and Tango Tango November X-Ray all heading up and eventually back from Manchester for what we think is Wi-Fi fitment on the pretty recently delivered A320 Neos. Echo Uniform Yankee India was out of use at Heathrow from the 4th to the 20th of January, but back in use. And Tango Tango Sierra Hotel out of use on the ground at Heathrow since the 8th of January. So moving on then, the A320 pilot circuit training continues. It's new first officers who need to get their hands on a real plane. A320 Golf Echo Uniform Yankee Papa, 21st of Jan, out to France to Châteauroux, day trip only, 9260 back on the 9261. Long haul fleets now. Let's have a look at the Airbus A350 X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Echo. Don't quite know what's going on with that. Parked up at Heathrow since the 5th of January, and then the decision's been taken for the aircraft to fly out to Abu Dhabi for a heavier maintenance check. BA 9171 on the 23rd of January, Heathrow to Abu Dhabi. X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Papa out to Philadelphia on the 18th of January. Return flight, the BA 66 was cancelled. The aircraft returned the next day as the BA 9604. So the 96 series flight codes indicate they are carrying passengers, but they're sort of unscheduled additional flights. Aircraft picked up duties immediately it got back. It seems to suggest that's more of a crewing issue at Philadelphia rather than anything wrong with the aircraft, but not sure. X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Mike out of service on the ground at Heathrow since 22nd of January. Aircraft unavailable for its next booked work, which is the flight to Austin on the 25th. Now, there's also quite a bit of weather at the moment over Texas. American Airlines have cancelled all their Dallas flights, so some of this may be connected to the weather. I know on the Airbus A350 rotations, the BA 193 to Dallas cancelled on the 24th. Also worth noting, X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Charlie has been out of use on the ground at London Heathrow since the 22nd of January. Plan to return that into traffic on the 26th. Airbus A380s, well, we do keep you appraised here of what's happening over in Manila. And look, little bit of video footage showing on the screen now. This is X-Ray Lima Echo X-Ray Lima Echo Kilo. Not sure from the photograph or the video there which is which, but they're both on a D-check over in Manila. Still no news on the refresh program. 9 out of 10 aircraft flying out of London Heathrow. A bit tight, a few problems with the fleet, so the BA 269 and back on the 268 for Los Angeles on the 24th of Jan was cancelled. The aircraft Echo Bravo was serviceable, but it was moved on to the Miami flight. I think that was based on passenger loadings. They partially reinstated that flight by getting their hands on a 777-300 and a spare crew at either end, and they flew the BA 9606 to Los Angeles and back as the 9607. A lot less capacity. I'll leave you to do the maths. You all know the capacity of these aircraft, but it's surprising actually just how few seats there are in a 777-300. Cancelled also was the Dubai flight on the 23rd of Jan, the aircraft being saved for Johannesburg, and a Miami cancellation out and back on the 23rd of Jan, the BA 209, and back on the 208. X-Ray Lima Echo Charlie, part of the problem there, that's been out of use since the 20th of January. So quite a lot of problems on the A380 fleet. We still don't know why X-Ray Lima Echo Kilo was taken out of traffic and sent to Manila, because they have been working through those D checks in sequence. And as I've said here couple of times before, mileage, it was at the lowest level of any of the A380s in terms of hours actually. So not sure, but interesting developments. 777 fleet, we've mentioned here before, Yankee Mike Lima. There's a photograph of it in its special livery for the Great Festival of Creativity. Had that livery, I think, best part of a decade. It's been over to Tirol, repainted, and here's some footage from Flight Focus 365 of the aircraft coming back to London Heathrow, and you can see it's back in the standard British Airways livery. The Great Festival livery has gone. That aircraft flew back as the BA 9172 Tirol to Heathrow on the 22nd of Jan, slammed straight back into service that evening with commercial duties. Victor India Whiskey, back from Cardiff, been there for a month. It went out on the 19th of December, returned on the 19th of January, BA 9178 Cardiff back to Heathrow. Commercial duties resuming the next day. We made a little bit of a fuss about the movement of Sierra Tango Bravo Alpha across to Amman in Jordan. Been there since the 6th of January. Aircraft's done 2.5 weeks or so in Jordan. It's returned now as the BA 9174 Amman back to Heathrow on the 23rd of Jan. Commercial duties resuming the next day. Yankee Mike Alpha, we spoke to you last time about that aircraft turning round in the mid-Atlantic after fumes and air quality issues. The captain elected to return to Gatwick, but the aircraft was fit to fly the next day. Went out to Cancun on the BA 2203. Interestingly, the return flight from Cancun diverted to Boston, but as soon as the aircraft had landed, it was refueled and prepared for departure. Actually only got into London Heathrow 4 hours late. So looks to me as if there's nothing wrong with the aircraft at Boston. Probably a medical issue, I suspect. Yankee Mike Kilo San Diego. This is one that I missed last week, so thanks for the contributions on the YouTube comments. But 15th of Jan, the BA 272 was headed across to San Diego, made its first landing attempt at 200 feet. It aborted, made another approach, descended as far as 375 feet, but aborted again. The aircraft immediately turned left on the go around and headed straight for Los Angeles International. Passengers were conveyed to San Diego by road, I think, that evening, or some of them actually appear to have remained overnight, and the aircraft remained on the ground overnight at LAX, and then BA had a crew for it as the Speedbird 9603 Los Angeles to San Diego. That would have been a fun flight to do, wouldn't it? I've flown from San Diego to LAX. You're only in the in the air for about half an hour. So that would be a fun British Airways flight. And the aircraft then continued San Diego back to London Heathrow as the 9603. Looks like they had a bit of cooperation from the crew for that one as well. Victor India X-ray Gatwick to Heathrow on the 19th of Jan for some planned maintenance at Heathrow. 3 days on the ground and back as the 9176 to Gatwick on the 22nd of Jan. Sierra Tango Bravo Lima flew to Cardiff on the 19th of Jan for attention at British Airways maintenance. Yankee Mike Hotel Heathrow to Gatwick for maintenance. Another of these very odd scenarios where you've got Gatwick 777s flying to Heathrow for maintenance and Heathrow 777s flying to Gatwick for maintenance. That must cost them a lot of money, so I'm sure there must be a very clear, logical reason, but I've no idea what it is. Sierra Tango Bravo Echo flew the BA 9175 empty across to Taipei on the 23rd of Jan. Of course, it's quite frequent now that BA are using Taipei for maintenance. What's also interesting is those flights out to Taipei seem to fly empty, but then when they're ready to return, they use them to convey cargo and they fly back via Doha. So be interesting to see in 3 or 4 weeks how that aircraft returns. Mentioned it already as part of the Airbus A380 update, but Sierra Tango Bravo Papa with quite a few flights not operating actually in January. I mean, it is pretty quiet. I flew out to North America last January midweek and aircraft was, about a quarter full on a Washington flight. So there is scope for BA to thin things out. So a bit less pressure, although they've still had some cancellations. Sierra Tango Bravo Papa replaced an Airbus A380, didn't use the same flight numbers because there's nowhere near enough capacity. And what BA like to do is cancel the flight, knock all the passengers out of the system, and then pick the ones they're going to put back on the revised flight 9606, 9607, back vice the BA 269 and 268. Dreamliners, a little bit of activity here just to refresh that. Sierra Bravo Juliet Kilo on the ground at Cardiff Club Suites fitment, and that was joined by Zulu Bravo Juliet Mike. A little bit of confusion about that last week, so apologise for that because I didn't actually mention that flight down. It did fly down as the BA 9172 on the 11th of January. None of the 7878s now flying with the old interiors for Club World, but 3 aircraft at Cardiff being fitted, including Juliet Delta, which is also having new engines. Some evidence of that airframe being tested electrically on the 13th of Jan, so maybe that it's ready soon. A sister aircraft, Zulu Bravo Juliet Alpha, has been in a little bit of difficulty recently. Out of use at Heathrow since returning from Cincinnati on the 31st of December. But the aircraft itself has not flown out of Heathrow on a successful mission since the 26th of December. BA did place it back into traffic on the 19th of Jan, departed from Heathrow as the BA 133 to Jeddah, but after departure it climbed to flight level 150 over Kent, and then issues were found. The aircraft entered a hold over East Kent. It undertook further holds over Maidstone and then returned to Heathrow. The flight was cancelled and the aircraft remains on the ground with a departure allocation for the 25th of Jan, so we'll see what happens there. The only 7879 with the new interiors is Zulu Bravo Kilo Alpha. That aircraft was allocated on the BA 229 on the 25th of Jan, but the flight and its return have been cancelled. The aircraft was redeployed on the BA 35 to Chennai. And Zulu Bravo Kilo India, first time I've seen this, but a 787 Dreamliner from the BA fleet flew the BA 9170 out to Tyrrell maintenance facility for what we think will be a repaint. So 787's not available. Similar picture to last time. Half, that's right, you heard me right, half the 787-8 fleet remains out of traffic. It's a phenomenal statistic, really. 6 out of 12 aircraft not available. We've talked about some of them already. Juliet Alpha at Heathrow, hopefully that'll be fixed soon. Also at Heathrow, Juliet Golf with that engine issue, Rolls-Royce engines required, and 3 aircraft, in fact 4 aircraft down at Cardiff because Juliet Foxtrot's there as well for maintenance. 2 787-9s, one at Tyrrell and one at Heathrow pending Rolls-Royce engines, and the 2 787-10s, one at Cardiff, one at London for maintenance. 24% of the fleet. Now, currently, British Airways have 12 787-10s. They're fitted with Rolls-Royce engines. They were ordered during the Alex Cruz era. And, you know, people must get really cheesed off, I guess, in BA HQ with some of the decisions that were taken during his era, because they have really restricted the ability of the aircraft to do stuff. And one of the decisions that he took was the 787-10s were not going to be fitted with a cabin crew rest area. BA have clearly felt that's not the right decision, and BA are quite close now to getting their 6 787-10s that were ordered as an additional batch. Now, they have got another 32 787-10s to come after that, but those won't be coming this year or next. And I thought it'd be worth just saying a few words about these aircraft because they'll be coming on stream later this year in 2026. Batch of 6 aircraft, and the big thing about these planes, they're the first of the BA 787s to feature the General Electric new generation Dash 1B engines. They've got the additional modification, what's called the IGW mod, which is increased gross weight. That means they can fly a little bit further, 430 nautical miles of range. Interestingly, the interior is broadly similar to the existing 787-10s, but one interesting difference. So 8 first, 48 club suites. We think the first class will be the old one. We know it is because they won't fit the new first class. So it's the existing first class product. Not sure if the club suites will be the existing BA club suite or whether it's an updated version of the same seat, which has been seen on Philippine Airlines. 35 World Traveller Plus. We don't know for sure, but we're expecting to see the same World Traveller Plus seat that's been fitted to the 789 that's come off the production line, and then 160 World Traveller seats instead of the 165 that are fitted to the other aircraft. And of course, the reason that it's 160 is that BA have had to slightly change the configuration at the rear of the aircraft because they've fitted a cabin crew rest area, and there has to be a little secret access door and a set of steps that broadly takes up the space of about 3 seats, but also you have to move the toilet as well. So in simple terms, what I think is happening is the toilet moves from the center of the cabin over to the side. That removes 2 seats, and then 3 seats in the middle disappear where the steps go. The cabin rest area combined with the IGW mod means those aircraft will be able to fly a little bit further. And certainly if you look at airlines, for example, like KLM and United, while the 787-10 is never going to have the range of things like the Airbus A350 or the A380 or the longer range 777s, it is capable of flying longer than BA generally use it now, so there's potential. The aircraft are going to have a different registration sequence. That's not a surprise because they've got different engines, slightly different interiors, slightly different range. So I think it's quite important that the flight crew and the operations control are able to easily identify these aircraft as slightly different. But the 6 planes, 3 of them have already got a line number on the production line, 1308, 1334, 1366. A Q3 delivery for the first 2. That's British Airways quarters. Their financial year runs from January. So effectively, we're saying from July, and then Zulu Bravo X-Ray Charlie in Q4, which means we'll probably see that some time between October and December, and then X-Ray Delta, X-Ray Echo, X-Ray Foxtrot to follow probably in the first part of 2027, I would anticipate. So there's your update, a Mark's Trains and Planes and Trams special update. Thanks to one of the contributors on Flyer Talk for the tip about the interiors, but the rest of the information I've gathered myself. Thanks to everyone for watching this update then. A special thanks to those of you who do like these videos on YouTube. Press the like button. Do also engage with a comment or some information. I've mentioned Flyer Talk, but thanks to everyone there for their hints and tips, their information and pointers for deeper research. Do check it out yourself. Flyer Talk's always a great place for good information, updates and discussion on various things British Airways. I am attaching to the end of this video a link to my recent flight review on an Airbus A380 with British Airways in World Traveller Plus from London Heathrow across to Dubai. Quite an interesting flight, had some nice reviews for that, so do take a look on that video here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams on YouTube. I'll catch you, of course, for another video soon. Do my best to turn out a few more videos, catch up with a few of the things that I know you want me to publish, and to keep my weekly discipline for the British Airways Fleet update. Look forward to catching you here on the channel very, very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.